because I'm trying, I'm doing my best, but sometimes, yeah, getting up at 5 is a little hard. So sometimes I'll get up at 6, and I just get up whenever I can, because I do believe in things like sleep and water and stuff like that as being important parts of your health. It's not the big stuff; it's always the little things. But anyway, I got up and I got up at 6 a.m. and I went out for a run. And during that time, I was taking in financial information, kind of enjoying the sunrise. I called my wife while I was out, and when I got back, my father was sitting on the porch, and I was talking to him, and he gave me credit for being a runner, and I said, "Really, Daddy?" I said, "I'm not a runner." I said, "My running ain't nothing but glorified walking. That's all it is. This is glorified speed walking." Because I walk a lot. If I get tired, I walk. I want to be comfortable. And what my philosophy is, and maybe this can help some of you that are sort of, trying to level up in your life, whatever that means for you. I learned that there's a big difference between doing very little versus doing nothing at all. Right. I don't know if any of you go through this. Let me know if you can relate to this. But a lot of times, if you set a big goal and you don't get anywhere close to the big goal, it's tempting to just do nothing, right? Because you're expecting to go to the gym and work really hard and do all this and do that, or go on this perfect diet, or make these perfect moves when it comes to your finances. And because you're not at the big goal, you don't do anything. You don't even try to hit the little goal. You don't even take the consolation prize, which might just be doing a little bit. And so one rule that I always have is that I may not always do everything, but I'm not going to do nothing. I'm going to at least do something, never do nothing. Do you understand? So what I would say to you, if you're looking for a little bit of a perspective on how you can, just elevate, is don't be so hard on yourself. Like, push yourself, love yourself, challenge yourself, but don't kick yourself in the ass every time you come up short. Because we all come up short. We all do. We all, we're always, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I go every single day. I look at myself in the mirror in terms of who I am, and then I look at the guy that I want to be, and I'm almost never a complete match to the guy that I really want to be. Right. But I'm trying. Right. And I give myself credit for trying. I say, you know what? We ain't there yet, but we're going to do something. We may not win the prize, but we're going to do our best. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do the best we can right now. And I don't know if that helps you. I hope it does. But I just want to encourage you, just do something, So that health thing, I bring that into our financial consciousness conversation, because part of being financially aware and financially conscious is heavily driven by your physical health, your physical and mental health. Awareness is a psychological concept. If you're not mentally healthy, then your awareness is not as high. When I get up and I exercise and I've been breathing and the endorphins have kicked in and the clarity of focus comes into play from the workout, I am so much more aware of the world than I am when I'm rolling out of bed, whenever I feel like it, and kind of a day late and a dollar short. You know what I mean? So these things, that mind, body, soul connection is very, very real. My wife is an expert on the subconscious mind. She's also deep into metaphysics. So I learned a lot from listening to her. Everybody, if you want to get one little hack to get ahead, is get you a smart wife who can challenge your thinking and teach you some things. And my wife teaches me a lot, and I teach her. And I can just tell you that all these things are connected. So take care of your health, whatever that means for you. Because I don't think, culturally speaking, when we talk about wealth, we don't really talk about how much Black wealth gets lost when we don't take care of our health. And let me know if you've seen this. Let me know if you're dealing with this. You're dealing with relatives that are getting cancers and that are they're diabetic and buying all these pills from Big Pharma. Big Pharma does not love you. Big Pharma is here to get your money. They're not here to make you healthy. They're not here to save your life. They're not here to help you to live. They are here to help you die in a way where they can slowly but surely extract as much money from you as they possibly can before you die. Because once you croak, then you have no economic value. There's no recurring revenue that comes from dead people, because dead people don't buy medicine. So ultimately, their goal is to drain you slowly, stick that little financial pipe in you, right? Or jab you with a little financial vacuum cleaner and just suck up all your money before you're gone. It's like, okay, because I mean, you'll be dead. What do you need money for in heaven? But then here's the problem. Here's the problem with that. And I hear a lot of people say that. I think I heard a rapper say, I'm gonna, if I'm not leaving anything for my kids or whatever, or I'm not I'm not saving for or I'm not gonna put anything in my estate plan or whatever, because he said I'll be dead, so it won't matter to me. But the problem is that your kids will still be here, your grandkids will be here. You have loved ones that'll still be here, and they're going to still be stuck in this place called Earth and life, and they're going to need money. They're going to deal with financial challenges. They're going to deal with lots of the oppression, the financial oppression that exists around the world. They're going to deal with racism, economic racism. My friend Tariq Nasheed is doing a reparations rally in DC. I can't make the reparations rally, but I support it 100%. I support exactly what Tariq is doing, because reparations is something that we deserve. And why do we deserve reparations? Well, because so much of our wealth was taken from us. And what's the effect of that? Well, the effect is that we live under the assumption that if you are Black, you're by default supposed to be poor. There's an assumption that if you are Black, you're supposed to struggle financially. If you're Black, you're supposed to be behind educationally. You're supposed to be behind in terms of health and family structure. You're also supposed to be in a position of complete and total servitude. You are not supposed to ever be in a position where you are in the driver's seat of your own life, because you are not here to serve yourself. You are here to serve massa. Right? You are here as a commodity for other people. That's what you were brought into this country as. And it's very important that we work very hard to undermine this narrative. It's very important that we consciously approach and consciously confront this subconscious training that we've received to make us believe that it's okay for your kids to be out here butt naked, struggling financially. Like, really, we really think that our kids are supposed to be, having things as hard as we had it. They're supposed to go through as much struggle as we did. And this is almost as the same as the false thinking that because my mother used to beat me with a stick every time I got in trouble or made bad grades, I'm supposed to beat my kids with a stick too. And I don't know about y'all, I got whoopings like crazy when I was a kid. Anybody else get whoopings when you were growing up? Give me a yes if you got a whooping. And also be honest. Did you deserve it at the time? Did you earn it? How many of y'all got a whooping and earned it? I'm guilty as charged. I'm guilty as charged. In the court of law, every time I would have had to just take a plea because Lord knows I was a tough kid to deal with, and I got a lot of whoopings. And let me just tell you, I am more on the side of believing that sometimes we take things a little bit too far, in the sense of believing that anytime a kid gets a whooping that is somehow so traumatic that they can't recover and it's the worst thing you do to a kid. I'm not in that camp. I'm not an extremist in that fashion. I'm not one who says, oh, you spanked the baby, he's going to be traumatized, you need to go to jail. I don't think that way. But at the same time, what I did learn from my own experience and just from seeing different ways to raise a kid is that, sometimes you ain't got to resort to the nuclear option every time when it comes to training and raising children. Sometimes, sometimes I think about it, and don't get me wrong, I earned about 90% of my whoopings. I did. But it could have been a little bit better. Maybe if my parents had sat me down and talked to me, or maybe given me some other type of punishment that wasn't as severe, right? That whooping, it's like, let me just say this. I did not pass that tradition to my kids. We don't spank our kids. Now, on one side, they're not getting some of what we got in terms of, I did get a little bit of that scared straight shock treatment that did keep me on the straight and narrow. It actually worked in the sense that I didn't do anything stupid when I got older. At the same time, though, there is trauma that's attached to that, right? So we kind of have these habits that we just sort of inherit and we pass them on. And I think that there are some habits that have to be left in the previous generation. So ultimately, I think that there is a belief that we believe this. I think a lot of us believe this, that because we struggled and because we went through pain, that the children are supposed to go through pain. And then if you didn't go through pain like I did, then you're not really getting the Black experience. And I don't think that the Black experience has to always be full of pain. I think that the Black experience should also be full of joy. I think the Black experience should not be full of struggle. I think the Black experience should be full of prosperity. I don't think that the Black experience should be coming in last place. The Black experience, in my view, should be when we come in first place. That is what excellence looks like, not Black excellence, just excellence. And that's also what I think we can look at going forward. So in order to be excellent, and just circling back, because you guys know every morning we do economic awareness training, EAT. I want you to eat. That's it. Because if you can't see the money, you'll never be the money. So as we economically elevate, I want us to take a moment and just sort of be aware of how some of these habits and curses can impede our ability to move forward, and not just economically, not just in terms of money. It definitely hurts you in terms of money, but it also hurts you in terms of the things that money cannot buy. It hurts you in terms of just all the trauma of broken families. I feel really sorry for every child that where their dad or their mother moves out of the house and they don't have two parents in the house. I think kids should have that if they can. I feel bad whenever we're talking about what's going on when we get up and go to work every day at a job that we hate, and we assume that that's just part of life. I don't know if you grew up the same way, but I remember growing up believing that everybody had to go to work and that everybody hated it, and that you did it because you needed massa to give you enough money to be able to pay the bills so that you could have a place to live, and that if you don't do those things, then you're going to be homeless. I did not even think about this idea that wealth actually is a relay race, and as a relay race, in a relay race, and a lot of you, I'm a big track and field fan. Some of you know this. I'm going to be watching the Olympic trials and the Olympics. I watch the NCAAs. I watch the SEC championships. Like, I'm a really serious track and field fan. I love track and field. I used to be a track coach. And one thing about running a relay race is that the number one rule of a relay race is that you ain't got to do it all by yourself. In fact, another rule of a relay race is that if you try to do it all by yourself, you're not going to win. There's no way that you can win a relay race if the other team has 4 people running and you've only got 1. And so a lot of you, unfortunately, you've been trained to believe that when it comes to your economics, you're supposed to run a relay race by yourself. And so you're doing it by yourself. You're racing the kids by yourself. You're out here hustling, trying to start the business by yourself. You're trying to manage the universe by yourself. And it becomes just so overwhelming. It becomes so weighty. And this is not just me talking to you. I had a conversation with my wife about this morning. Just this morning, my wife and I were just talking, and there were some things going on with her business and stuff like that. And I said, well, you need to delegate. You are this incredibly. She is the prototype of the strong Black woman. When we talk, and I don't look at that term as derogatory. I think strength is a virtue until it becomes traumatically painful. But she's a prototype of that. She is a person that will get up and do it if it needs to be done. She's a person who runs marathons. She is a full professor of social work, not just the PhD. Only 1% of society has a real PhD. I'm talking where you spent 5 years in an academically intense program at a Research One institution. She did that. 5 people started with her in her class. 4 of them did not finish. She was the only one who made it, and she defended her dissertation while she was 8 months pregnant. She's a badass Black woman. You talk about a badass woman that can get it done. That's where she fits, right? And so she gets this from her mother. Her mother, I love her mother. Her mother, my mother-in-law. She's mama to me. She also has that same level of energy, and she raised her like a lot of us raise our girls this way, right? Don't take no excuses. You do what you got to do. You get the job done. So she's one of those types of people, right? So she runs her business. She does her scholarly research. She'll run a marathon in between, and then be raising the kids and can cook her butt off. And it's kind of amazing to watch, right? Now, here's the thing. One thing that I did tell her, though, is I said, sometimes you have to delegate. Sometimes you have to get other people to help you. You have to put people in place so that you're not carrying a whole load yourself, because not only will it drain you, but also you're going to miss things. You're not, and this is where we're going to get to the economic awareness piece. And I'm going to tell you a true story about something that happened involving somebody robbing me. There was a time that I got robbed, and I'm going to explain exactly what happened here. So I told her, I said, because if you are trying to, say, run a business or run a household or do anything that involves an institution or a structure, and you're doing it all by yourself, and you're going to miss some of the detailed stuff. You're going to miss the fine details. Your awareness drops. Your economic awareness drops when you're not able to really follow every little thing, because there's just too much to follow. And this is a big problem in terms of Black leadership. We have too many horrifically bad leadership models in the Black community. We have a leadership model where a lot of guys want to be the man. They want to be the leader. They want to be King Kong consciousness. They want to be the biggest, most important person in the group, that kind of thing. And what happens is that there's not enough talk about developing an infrastructure around you with people that you can delegate to, so you can make sure the job gets done properly. So ultimately, one thing that I mentioned to her is I said, if you don't have that ability to delegate, then those details are going to be missed, and you're going to end up finding that something's happening that you should be aware of that you're not aware of, like someone taking your money. So here's what happened. This is a true story. I had somebody that we were affiliated with years ago, not anymore, and this person had access to one of my credit cards because I had this person do things for us and go and get stuff or whatever. And then one day I was looking in my statement and I was like, I didn't go to that store and buy that stuff on that day. Wait, huh? And then I go through it again and I find another one and I'm like, hold up, wait, like Nate Dogg, hold up, wait, right? So I'm doing my Nate Dogg imitation. So I get on the phone with this person. I'm like, hold up, wait. I was looking at my credit card statement. I don't play, right? So I'm looking at my credit card statement and I'm like, I'm seeing these charges and you have my card that day. You have my card that day. And these charges, this math ain't mathing. Like what's going on? And I caught the person, fired them immediately, and it really was interesting to me. And I told my wife, I said, what makes this person think they can just charge stuff and not have us notice? Well, I think that it comes down to, I think the person made the assumption, like they look at me and my wife and they're like, oh, y'all just rich people. Y'all don't notice. No. we might, we're okay financially. We ain't struggling, but no, we've always believed in living below your means. So no, because my wife grew up, really with a financial struggle, and I didn't have much money. I mean, we had roaches and stuff in the house. I mean, it was tough. It wasn't easy, but but there was love, right? So that's more important than money anyway. But anyway, so I think I told my wife, I said, I think that they thought that we were not going to be financially aware because the person was maybe thinking, well, a rich person isn't going to notice a few $100s or a couple $100s taken off on their credit card statement. And let me tell you, this is a bigger phenomenon. I was actually talking to her extensively about this. And I remember talking to, when I used to go out to California and hang out with Damon Dash, Dame talked about this a lot. He said, I remember him saying this, and I agreed with this 100% actually. He said, yeah, when people think you're not watching, that's when they'll rob you. They'll take your money. And I think this applies to everyone. In fact, when you look at research studies on bank fraud, when companies go or these hackers go in and they take money out of your credit card or your bank statement, they get these little charges in there because they're assuming you're not financially aware. They're assuming you're not paying attention. And I've been hit with this. Has anybody else been hit like that, where these mysterious charges are coming up? I don't know if y'all know this, but credit card fraud is a massive, massive industry. Like there are billions of dollars being made from people that will swipe your credit card at the restaurant and then give your credit card number to somebody that's on a black market where they'll be using your card and they'll go and make 10,000 charges for like $7 or something, and the little charges they think you won't notice, and you end up paying that. And so, in fact, actually, I pulled up some research studies on this topic that hopefully can help you on this issue. And let me find this. Okay, so according to the Journal of Financial Crime, they said that being informed about methods that are used by fraudsters can significantly enhance an individual's ability to avoid fraud. In addition to that, they said there's substantial evidence indicating that financial awareness plays a crucial role in reducing the likelihood of falling victim to credit card and bank fraud. Studies show that individuals who regularly monitor their financial statements and maintain high levels of economic awareness. Y'all know why I do economic awareness training? EAT, because when you want to eat, people will try to steal your food. I want you eating good, but when you start eating good, people are going to be taking bites off your plate. All right, so people that have high levels of economic awareness are better equipped to detect and prevent fraudulent activities. Let's see, what else did they say here? They said that in terms of types of fraud, they talk about, let's see here, phishing attempts, phishing with a P, PHISHING, which is where they use your email, stuff like that, or they'll send you a random text out of the blue to get you to click on a link. securing your personal financial information, etc. A comprehensive review by the Office of Justice Programs highlights that credit card fraud prevention programs, which include customer education on recognizing and responding to fraud, have proven successful in reducing financial losses. Studies on fraud detection and prevention suggest that financial institutions that educate their customers about secure banking practices and fraud can reduce the fraud. So basically, it comes down to awareness, right? So awareness might come in the form of being aware of what money's going in and what money's coming out. And this doesn't just expand to fraud, it also expands to just budgeting. Like if you have a budget and you know what money is coming in and what money is coming out, and you reconcile that budget, that financial awareness is likely to heighten your economic efficiency in a lot of really powerful ways. But then also not just being aware of your revenue and your expenses, but also being aware of different ways that people might try to extract from you, being aware of the threats, the economic threats that exist in terms of people and situations where you might lose a little something. Another aspect of economic awareness that isn't discussed much is related to things like alcohol and drugs. One of the reasons that people either drug other people or get people drunk is because they know your awareness drops. Well, if you think about it, I mean, not just money, but things that money can't buy. Like, somebody is quick to pour you a bottle of something, is maybe trying to get you to lower your inhibitions and not be as aware, and so that they can then get something from you, right? So economic awareness also might extend to that. I think about a time where there was a guy who had a drinking problem who was worth millions of dollars. He went to a casino, and at the casino, they recognized him as a high roller. So he would spend thousands of dollars on every hand. And so they were giving, if you notice in casinos, they always give you free drinks. They give you free drinks. They put extra oxygen in the room. They also don't have clocks on the walls. The reason they don't have clocks on the walls and they put extra oxygen in the room and give you free drinks is because they want your awareness to be dropped. If there's a clock there, I'm aware of the time. I look at the watch. I'll say, "Ooh, look at the time. I've been here 7 hours." If there's no clock, I'm not thinking about that. Extra oxygen makes you a little bit high. It makes you feel good, right? And then on top of that, the drinking, we know what that does. You did liquid courage. You're like, "Oh, bet it all on black. Let me get another 10,000, right?" And next thing you know, they sucked out all your money. Allen Iverson, from what I understand, had a little bit of a drinking problem and also a little bit of a gambling problem, and that really cost him dearly. This man could be worth $1 billion, but instead he's waiting for his Reebok deal to kick in so he can have a little bit of money in his pocket. Whereas this guy, one of the greatest, most extraordinary athletes of all time. I mean, AI was an amazing player to watch. This guy could be a billionaire right now. He really could be and should be a billionaire, creating 50,000, 100,000 jobs for people in his home city of Philadelphia. But instead, he's a guy that's that's doing okay, that's doing well for himself. You understand? So that's a missed opportunity. That is what in economics is called an opportunity cost. Another term used for opportunity cost is a shadow price. A shadow price is a price that you pay that lives in the shadows. It's not what you gave up, it's what you passed up. Do you understand? That's why I say when you talk about economic awareness, it's important because people who are economically aware are not typically poor. Poor means passing over opportunities repeatedly, which means that you are constantly passing up chances to build wealth, chances to do well, chances to get out of your situation, chances to get back in the game. So when I look at Allen Iverson, I look at the shadow cost. I say, gosh, this poor guy, could have really, really changed the world. He had the power to do it. He knew everybody. He had millions and millions of dollars. But because the economic awareness was low, the financial literacy was low, he did a lot of things that unfortunately were connected to a financially draining culture. Like he would go to different cities and buy a whole wardrobe in that city, throw all the clothes away, and then go to the next city. A lot of you heard this has happened on multiple times. I heard Floyd Mayweather tell a story like that, and there was another person I think who was a famous rapper who told this story. I can't remember. No, it wasn't a rapper. It was Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown and Floyd Mayweather told the exact same story. Bobby Brown and Floyd Mayweather told the story of how they went to a city, bought a Mercedes Benz, drove the car around the city, and then left the car at the airport, or left the car and just went back home. That they both told that same story. So if you think about that again, Bobby Brown could have been a billionaire. He was that famous. He could have been that rich. I think if he'd made the right moves, he'd be billionaire status. Instead, he's the poor guy. He's got a dead wife, dead daughter. He's struggling with health, with his health. And I don't know what he's doing financially, but I don't think he's doing that great, at least relative to where he could be. New Edition is doing better, it seems. It seems like they're finally away from all those terrible financial deals and stuff like that. And by the way, I'm respectful for New Edition because I just love them so much, and I love the way they came together. And also, there's a member of New Edition who's actually in my class, so I don't want to, I don't want to sound gossipy or disrespectful. But long story short, there's a shadow cost. There's an opportunity cost. Right. There's when I listen to Floyd tell that story, I'm like, my Lord Jesus, do you know how much money that just that 80,000 you spent on that Benz that you threw away, just that one time, that money, if it's invested over a 20 or 30-year period, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. That could change people's lives. Like there are people who are starving to death who could be eating if you had a little bit more economic awareness. There are people who are unemployed who could have jobs if you'd had advisors around you who said, no, 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 no. We need to change your culture and your priorities. You are in a position of significance and importance. You are in a position of tremendous responsibility. Your job is not just to be a great fighter and to be Money Mayweather and to be economically immature, to do things like a child, to live like a kid where you're just throwing money away. No, you need to be a grown-ass man. You're a man in the ring, but you're a child outside the ring. Do you understand? You're a bad boy when it comes to your fighting, but you're a little boy when it comes to your economics. Do you understand? We got a lot of 45, 50-year-old children that are given lots of money by the oppressor. Give me a yes if you've seen this. They're given lots of money by the oppressor, and then they sit there and they just do crazy things with this money. And it's really sad to watch. And what's really sad is not just what they're doing, it's the backlash and the pushback that someone like me gets when I say, hey, man, with that, you could raise 20 million and go build a school system in your hometown and educate thousands of kids. You could go make a donation to an HBCU that can educate 50,000 Black people over the next 100 years. And to just show you how crazy the culture is, there are so many people that will fill up the comments saying, stop being a hater. You be hating. And I swear to God, if I hear another person say, you be hating, if you come to my page talking like that, I'm going to have to get ready. I'm going to have to block you. You sound like a dummy. You sound like a child. I'm 52. I ain't got time to do children's games with other 50-year-old men. You be hating. That's all you got. You don't have anything thoughtful to share that a perspective. I don't want to make fun of anybody. I know people get mad. That's why when I talk like this, that's why I get enemies. That's why people get mad at me. I can't say that I care because you know that that's stupid. You know that this explains 100% or at least 80% of why we're oppressed. It explains it. Because your leaders, your men, your strongest, most capable people are run around speaking like monkeys. You be hating. You be hating. You can literally train a parrot to say stuff like, or some. I bet there are dogs who could say you be hating. So my thing is like, you're smarter than a dog. You're smarter than a parrot. You're smarter than a monkey. So why would you let people dumb you down and have you run around saying things at 45 or 50 that you would have said when you were 18? And endorsing behaviors that are clearly wasteful and have tremendously negative consequences. For every time God blesses us with a chance to have somebody that can really elevate the community out of the situation that some of us are in, we blow it. We throw it away. Every time God passes you the ball, you throw the ball out of bounds, and then you say the white man did it. The white man doing this, the white man doing that. Yeah, he did it, but not in the way that you think. He did it in a sense that he's the one that planted that poison in your brain to make you think that it makes sense for a man with millions of dollars to just throw all his money away at a strip club. Like that's what he did. That's what he did. So he did it, but he didn't do it in the way that you think. You think he did it because he took your money or he oppresses you and all that. Well, sometimes people oppress you because you put yourself in a position to be easily oppressed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like if you play a football game and the other team beats you 147-6, you can say it's their fault that we lost. And in your mind, you're saying it's their fault because they cheated or they did something with the referees or they did something that you weren't prepared for or because it was their home stadium. No, that's not it. They did it, but they did it in a different way. What they did was they took advantage of your lack of preparation. Maybe they did it because maybe they got you to let your guard down. Maybe they did it because they got you to show up to the game unprepared. So then they're scoring all the touchdowns. You're scoring none of the touchdowns, and you're just mad about it. And then when somebody says, well, maybe you'd have a chance to win, pay attention now. maybe you'd have a chance to win if you came to practice. I'm going to let Allen Iverson practice. Remember, he did that whole speech where he kept saying practice. It's practice. It's practice. So maybe if you came to practice, you could win the game. And so what I do is all I'm doing is I'm showing up and saying, maybe we'll win the game if we go to practice. Maybe we'll go to get. Maybe we'll win the game if we, if we have a game plan. And then every time I show up and say, maybe if we have a game plan and we go to practice and we practice not throwing the ball out of bounds, and instead of throwing the ball out of bounds, we practice putting the ball in the bucket, maybe we'll be able to win, or we can get the ball to the end zone, whichever analogy you want to use, right? So maybe, and imagine if every time somebody came up and said that, you had a bunch of people saying, you be hating. How is that hating? Don't hate me. You need to hate the son of a bitch that keeps taking your money every time you show up stupid. You need to hate the person that's exploiting you. You need to hate the person that's going to enslave your children because you as a man did not prepare a future for that child. That's what you need to be hating. You need to be hating on the people that will exploit you, enslave you, take your kids. They will do nasty things to your daughter because you did not economically prepare for the future. That's what happens. So as a man, I think it's indicative that all of us, and as grown-ass women and men, it's indicative that we say, look, protecting ourselves and protecting our children is our job. It is not our oppressor's job. The white man is not my daddy. These are not your parents. Why in the hell do you think that the protection of your community and your children should be in the hands of somebody else? You are not a child. You are capable of building institutions just like him. You are capable of building wealth just like him. You're capable of developing educational systems just like him. You just don't believe in yourself. And then what happens is that when somebody does step up and say, no, I think we could do it ourselves, they get attacked by the monkey mob. You be hating, the parakeets, you be hating. Ain't nobody hating. We're just tired of losing. So the question is, do you continue or do you stop losing? Do you stop the loser train? What are you going to do? Because I can tell you, every time you see a celebrity who's sitting on $10 million, who gets on Instagram and brags about how he bought $1 million worth of jewelry. Tell me if you've seen this. This is everywhere. This is systematic. They bought $1 million worth of jewelry and another $1 million worth of Gucci, another $1 million worth of cars that they ain't never gonna drive. That is what poor looks like. That is passing on and infecting you with the virus of poverty. They are infecting you psychologically with a virus. They are putting a virus systematically delivered and injected into the minds of millions of children, that the goal of the black man and the black woman is to stay as poor as possible, because poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. When you spent that million at the jewelry store, that was being poor. That was an opportunity. When you spent the million at the Gucci store, that was being poor because you passed an opportunity. Every time you waste resources, you are being poor. You are passing an opportunity up to do something amazing. This is what you must fight against. Your greatest battle is not out there. Your greatest battle is right in here. Your greatest battle is in here. It is. It is in here. And so what I think has to happen is that we've got to elevate. We must economically elevate. Economically elevating means having hard conversations. In fact, it means even being honest about things that maybe are taboo to talk about. Like, let me tell you, type in the chat if you know. Does anybody know what city I'm from? What's my home city? Tell me if you know. I'm gonna see how well y'all know me. What city did I grow up in? Type in the chat. I see Detroit and Philly. Louisville, Kentucky. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky. And so growing up in Louisville, Kentucky, my greatest hero, you can probably guess it, Muhammad Ali. Remember he did anybody remember his movie? It's a really great old movie to watch if you want to watch it. It's called The Greatest. And he's like, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. I used to watch that movie And it was weird because I think he played himself, and I could have swore he actually sang the song or something, but I might be wrong with that. But he was something else, right? Amazing. He's the greatest, you know. And I remember I would hear that song as a little kid, and I used to think, well, when he's singing about kids of the future, he was talking about me, you know. And so to see this guy, I mean, you know, coming out of Louisville's kind of an interesting place. One day I'll tell you about it. But to see this man from my city, from like live down the street from me, my grandma went to high school with him, right? To see this man go out into the world and literally become the greatest athlete of all time, to become one of the most iconic figures in all of human history, was mind blowing for me. It was so inspiring, and so I get goosebumps even thinking about it. That's the connection. I love this man so much. And so I've studied his life. I've read about, and when I was in Chicago and going to visit Louis Farrakhan, and I was just thinking about Ali's time in Chicago with Malcolm X, and I'm sure you met Farrakhan and everyone else, right? And then just thinking about that, right? And just that connection, because that's one of the reasons I love the Nation of Islam. Again, you can't don't come up and never tell me nothing bad about the nation, because I'm gonna hear it, but I'm not gonna respond. I love the nation. Nuri Muhammad is speaking at the All Black National Convention, by the way. I wanted to mention that. So anyway, this is what I think about when I think about Ali. Just an amazing man, a man we can learn so much from. And what made him so amazing was he transcended sports. He wasn't just a boxer at all. He was this guy that just said, you know, because I'm this iconic figure known around the world, I must stand for something bigger than just what I can do in the ring. And that's why Ali, there's no fighter that can be compared to Ali, because he brought 50 things to the table that no fighter has ever brought. Nobody's brought all these things to the table. So with Ali, I have tremendous admiration for him. But here's the interesting thing, though. I think it's okay to be able to also critique the people that you admire the most. Like, so even my greatest hero, and maybe I got this from academia. When I was on the faculty of Syracuse, one thing I learned in academia, which they set a really high standard for the scrutiny of ideas. So what will happen in academia will really throw you off. There's a whole lot of haters in academia. As far as professors, you feel like you got play a hater of the year, like Dave Chappelle. You say play a hater of the year. Like literally, it would be like presenting a research paper. Literally was like being at the Player Hater of the Year Awards, where everybody in the audience is sitting there hating. I hate your research paper. I hate your guts. The title is ugly. It's a stinky paper. This is just stupid. Wait, what's wrong with that? Like they just don't do that, right? And what they're doing, though, is they're not really telling you that your work is bad. What they're doing is they're pushing you. They're sharpening your sword. So I've seen people literally who wrote papers that went on to win a Nobel Prize, who were still heavily scrutinized and criticized by other people, not in a negative way, but in a way to say, let's see if we can make this better, right? Do you follow what I'm saying? Right? So critique, loving critique or constructive critique, that is not just somebody hating on you. That's not player haterology. That is just them maybe saying like, okay, let's figure out how we can do this better. Okay. So why do I bring that up? I bring that up because this is how I think. This is what happens. And this is why I don't fit into political boxes. I don't do well with certain alliances and affiliations sometimes, because people think that if I say, well, hey, maybe we need to fix that, you be hating. I'm not hating. I like this guy. I just want to do it better. You understand? And I think this is critical. So let me tell you what happened with me and Muhammad Ali and my thought process. I never met him. I know Layla and her husband. He played for the Bears. I don't have his last name, but he was a great wide receiver for the Bears. But he's a great guy, and that's the closest I've gotten in terms of actually knowing him in life. But anyway, with Ali, here's the thing. I think that when you look at Ali's life, you see a guy who was amazing in so many ways. Curtis Conway, thank you, Terrence. That's his name. I should know that. I feel so bad. Curtis, if you see this, please, no disrespect, brother. I'm just bad with names. So here's the thing. With Ali, he was a great man and did a lot of great things. But in the area of economics, his financial awareness could have used some work. If you look at Ali and his decision-making when it came to money, he was part of what kind of created the culture, or at least within boxing, of the flashy showman who might be more interested in driving the fancy car or throwing the money away or spending money so he can get the girls, because Ali was such a ladies' man. Ali, all the ladies loved him. And that just, that was his life, right? That was his story. So if as someone who considers myself to be almost like a son of Ali, I think that our job as the sons and the daughters is to say, okay, let's try to see if we can build on what our parents did, but do it a little bit better. Like, I love my dad, but I don't want to be him, because my dad had areas where he said, this is what you got to do. This is what will make you strong. But then there's areas where he said, don't do what I did. Don't be like me over here. So that's, to me, how we build. Same thing is true with the civil rights movement. I think as Black people, we can show respect for what people did in the 1960s because they did the best they knew based on what they were dealing with. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you for running the first leg of the relay. Now we got the baton and we're going to run it, but we're going to run a little bit different, right? In hopes that we can run a little bit faster. Right? So I think, so when you look at Ali, let's use that as an example. Let's stick to that particular point. Ali's lack of financial awareness almost destroyed everything that he built. In fact, I dare to say that Ali's lack of financial awareness may have even caused his life to end early. And what do I mean by that? Well, to me, Ali did not die in 2000 and whatever. It was maybe it's 2017 or something. That's not when he died. Let's just be honest. Ali died about 1985, 1990. That's when he died. Like, when Ali shows up as a guy who has so much brain damage that he can't function the way he did before. He's not the smooth, pretty showman that he was before. He's this guy that's got a clear mental health issue that came from fighting way too long, fighting way past his prime. And I was fighting a lot of reasons. A lot of boxers had to do. Joe Louis had to do it. Fighting because he needed money. And so the question then becomes that you're the greatest fighter in the world and you made all this money, but you're fighting well past your prime to make more money. Financial awareness, again, and I'm not blaming him because nobody done these things, right? No, I grew up in Louisville. Nobody taught us financial literacy when we were growing up. So it's not expected he would even know these things. But the businessmen who Ali's career, a lot of them did know these things, right? There was a Louisville investment group that funded the beginning of his career. And I doubt that, and I know for a fact that none of those businessmen had to take a single punch in the head to make any money from the career of Muhammad Ali. I also am willing to bet that many of those individuals in that Louisville investment group were financially secure when Ali was not financially secure, right? When Ali was taking blows in the head from Larry Holmes. I remember watching him fight Larry Holmes, and it was heartbreaking. Everybody in Louisville, my parents watched because my dad knew him and all, so we're watching the fight in Louisville, and we're hoping that the old Ali is going to come back, just like he did with George Foreman when they were fighting in the jungle. It wasn't the Rumble in the Jungle. That was Frazier, but you know what I'm talking about. When they went over to Africa and he fought George Foreman, I watched that. I think it was called When We Were Kings. That just inspires the hell out of me. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it, right? So you're hoping the old Ali is going to come back, but the old Ali is gone, right? So he's taking all these hits to the head, and even Larry Holmes felt guilty because he beat him. He had to beat him so bad because Ali wouldn't quit. And so my point is to say that the lack of financial awareness, in my view, cost him his life. Like, I can imagine what it felt like to be caught in that prison where you are this sharp, charismatic man, but your body won't do what you need it to do. You can't say what you want to say. And so here's the light at the end of the tunnel. If you look at Ali's wife, Lonnie married Ali after all these women had run through him. A bunch of them ran off with his money. They were financially aware when he was not. Tell me if you're following this analogy. I know this is a long story, but I hope this is helping you. So they're financially aware. They're like, this guy's got money. I'm going to get my little piece of it. And then the divorce happens, the breakup happens, whatever. They're doing okay because they got a piece of him. All these little pieces of him are being extracted. And then his wife, Lonnie, comes along, who's got tremendous financial awareness. She had an MBA from UCLA, if I'm not mistaken. She is very financially aware. She sees the tremendous economic potential of Ali's brand. She sees him as this global international superstar who could be rebranded and monetized in a way that benefits the family. And also, she creates whatever infrastructure is required to protect and to defend his wealth and his assets from the many predators that he's met along the way, including the likes of the Don Kings and people like that. And so as a result of this man finally getting past whatever he was chasing back in the day and lining himself up with a solid, intelligent black woman, we got to say the word black, right? A great black woman who has financial awareness, who's protecting the resources. Ali dies a very wealthy man. He dies with the respect of kings and diplomats and international superstars of any background. He goes pound for pound with any of the greatest human beings in world history, partly because he aligned himself with a woman who was financially aware. Right? Her financial awareness was like, hold on, wait. You Muhammad Ali. That means something, right? So even as he's on the decline, she kind of grabs him and takes that, positions it in such a way that the family wealth was not going to be continuously drained. So economic awareness is really important, and I think that conversation about Ali, the reason I brought it up, and I hope it doesn't sound disrespectful toward him or his family, because I told you how much I love this man. This is where you learn. This is where you look back and you say, dang, there was so much that could have been there, but it's not there. So part of seeing wealth isn't just seeing what you have. It's not, and it's also not just seeing what you threw away. It's seeing what you could have had. Do you understand? It's seeing what could be created if you don't throw things away. And if you understand how to acquire more resources. Do you understand? Like, so most people can only see what they've got. They can only see what they spent. I don't see just what you've got and what you spent. I see what you could have had and what could have been created from all that you spent. So when Allen Iverson says, man, my whole career, I blew $100 million because I was doing this and doing that. No, you didn't, bro. You didn't blow 100 million. You threw away about 1.2 billion. You threw away billions. You did. It's like if I throw away an apple seed, I didn't just throw away an apple seed. I threw away an apple tree that was going to give me apples for the next X number of years. Do you understand? If a little girl passes away, I don't just see a little girl passing away. I see somebody's great grandmother who is, I see a woman who gave birth to 4 children, who also gave birth to 3 or 4 children, who then gave birth to 3 or 4 children. I see a great grandmother 80 years down the line who's got 37 people that come from her seed, or whatever you want to say. They came from her womb indirectly or directly. Do you follow what I'm saying? That's what I want you to be able to see when it comes to money. Money grows. Let me just tell y'all this, and this is a great point for us to finish up for today. Most of the mathematical equations that we use to analyze money in academia, in research papers, etc., when I was on the faculty of Syracuse, these equations come right out of biology. They do. When I was sitting there in grad school, I'm going through all these equations, and it's like this endless amount of work you have to do. I would look at the origin and the derivation of the equations, and they came out of biology. So the same way that you measure how money grows, how wealth grows, pay attention now, the same way you measure how wealth grows is exactly how a tree grows, or how a baby grows, or how a virus spreads, or how anything in nature you can think of, how a colony of sharks will reproduce, whatever, just like literally. So really with economics, I think to capture the essence of economic awareness, you have to capture the essence of growth. Don't just look at what you got. You got to look at what you're supposed to have and what you're going to have. That's what you want to look at. You got to be able to look at the future. And then, because if you can see the future, it gives you another dimension of vision that most people don't have. I don't look at the Black community in 2024. I don't care that much about what's happening in 2024. I only care about what I see in 2024 to the extent that it affects 2030, 2040, 2050, and 2060. I try not to pay attention to where things are. I look at where things are going and what we're going to create over time. And if you can do that, see, the thing about it is, if you can do that, then you become extraordinary. You become an economic god to some extent, or that gets you a step closer to becoming an economic god. Let me explain why. Let me use an example. There are people, I heard somebody say that Walt Disney died before the first Disneyland was ever built, that he died before it was built. And then somebody said, it's too bad that he wasn't able to see this amazing place that we have. And Walt Disney's brother, he said, No, he saw it. He saw all of it. That's why it's here. Do you understand? So he didn't need Walt Disney. He didn't need Disneyland to be built for him to see Disneyland. He needed to see Disneyland for Disneyland to be built. You understand? See, some people need to see it built before they can see the vision, but some people can see the vision before the thing gets built. And so this is what will make you great. This is what's going to make your children great. Is I want you to practice. Don't see, and this is what's going to separate you. I promise you, this will separate you. Most people can't see nothing until it's there. Your relatives, they won't see what you're doing, the value of what you're doing until you pull up in something nice, or you buy a new house, or they see that you're financially secure. They see you quit your job when they're still going to work. Then they'll see it. They're like, oh. And it was the same thing true in my life. When I started doing stuff, nobody saw what I was doing. They were just kind of like, what are you? You're wasting your time. This is stupid. Blah, blah, blah. Right? You're gonna get in trouble. White people won't hire you if you keep, they didn't see it. But then when they would see me on CNN, they're like, oh, or they would see me having money when other people did not, or when I'm doing well and they're struggling, then they're like, oh, dang, I see it now, right? Or they come to the convention and they see the convention, and then they're like, whoa, I didn't know you were doing all this, right? Well, so that's it. So most people can't see a vision until it's built, but the visionaries, the economic leaders of society, are the people who see the vision before it's built. And that's what drives and creates the energy necessary to build that thing. So to some extent, to do this, you have to be a little bit crazy. You have to be, to some extent, you have to be confident in the vision. You got to listen to yourself. I think you've got to listen to yourself. You're listening to the universe. You listen to God. You listen to your instincts. And that voice has to be louder than listening to people who can't see shit. Excuse my French. There are so many people who couldn't see a vision if you slapped them in the face with it. And a lot of times we have that big vision and we're trying to explain it to that small-minded person next to us who can't see nothing. And it becomes a very frustrating conversation. And then also consistently talking to that person who isn't convinced that this vision is possible, it deflates your belief in the vision and makes you start to believe that you're seeing things. And so sometimes you got to know that difference between engaging with others versus just keeping it to yourself and just saying, okay, I understand you can't see it, so let me go build it. And then you're going to start to see it. In fact, I remember hearing somebody talking about their dad. Their dad was jealous of his older brother. His older brother years ago had told him, he said, hey man, I want to start a dry cleaners. So if we go into business together, we can create this dry cleaners and we can both make money. And his brother's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend my money on something like that, right? So the brother goes and creates the dry cleaners on his own. He becomes really successful and he's making all this money. So the brother that didn't participate just sits around being mad because his brother is doing better. Oh, he think he better than everybody else and blah, blah, blah. He won't share nothing with nobody and all this other stuff. And she said to her dad, she said, but he invited you to be a part of the business. You didn't want to do it. You didn't see the vision. And so that's kind of the world we live in. Different people live on different frequencies. And I encourage you to really be very conscious of connecting with people that can live on that same frequency where you can share a vision with them and they're going to support that as opposed to deflate that. A lot of Black businesses don't exist because they die before they're even born. They get aborted, they get thrown away. Somebody craps on your dream and you say, oh, I was just being stupid, or you don't get any support. Imagine if you were surrounded by people where every time you came up with a crazy harebrained scheme, they were like, oh, you can do this. Oh yeah, let's okay, so what you're gonna need? You're gonna need this and you're gonna need this and you're gonna need, I'm here to help you, right? Or imagine if you grew up in a household where your parents, every time you said, Mom, I want to do this, or Dad, I want to do that, they were like, oh, babe, you can do anything you put your mind to. You go get it. Just work hard and make a plan, right? Imagine if you had that kind of encouragement and think about what would be created out of that. Imagine if that was the consistent default response from anybody around you. Yes, you can do it. Let me brainstorm with you. Let's dream together. I'm going to jump in this dream with you, and then I'm going to help you get it done because I love you. I love you so much that I'm going to invest in you, not just in terms of money, but in terms of time, energy, love, and emotional support. That to me is powerful because that builds that capital base that we're always talking about. Your capital base, which are your resources that you use to get things done. Your capital base isn't just money. Your capital base is all the other things that money can't buy. And I want you to have a big capital base around you so you can build and create things that you deserve and create the life that you want. Okay. So anyway, I'm done talking for today. I hope this discussion was beneficial to you. I hope you learned something. I hope that this helps you to elevate. I know I love talking to you, and I think I was feeling extra pumped up today because all these thoughts were kind of in my head. And also, I want to remind you that if you're on the text list, I'll send you a notification when we meet tomorrow. We do this every single morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. So just text morning to 87948. Last night we did the stock options income training, Prime 101. You seemed like you guys really liked it. We spent about 2.5 hours talking about generating income from stock options. If you did not make it, if you, for whatever reason, didn't want to make it, couldn't make it, or whatever the case may be, and you'd like to see a recording, that recording is made available. I think it was $129 to join, but we've made the recording $50, and it's yours for life. So I'll text that link out today to you guys if you want to take advantage of the recording. And then also, if you get the recording, you can come to the Q&A tomorrow. We're going to do a Q&A tomorrow, I think at noon, and where I'm going to answer a bunch of questions because stock options are a great way to make money. So feel free to participate if you'd like. So just make sure you're on the text list. Text morning to 87948, and I'll send that text link out this afternoon. And then also, don't forget the convention's coming up, All Black National Convention. That's where we gather once a year. And I mentioned to you guys that we're going to give you guys a good discount to hopefully encourage you or entice you to want to come and hang out with us and to meet each other. It's an amazing, amazing space. And so it's going to be in Chicago, Lombard, Illinois, which is right outside of Chicago. It's a beautiful area. There's a lot to do. It's a beautiful hotel. It's going to be an amazing experience. We're lining up our experts, and Brother Nuri Muhammad agreed to be a keynote speaker. Lamar Tyler, the biggest Black millionaire maker I've ever met in my life, he agreed to speak. I was super excited about that. We're going to have attorneys, real estate experts, people that are leading strong, powerful families, just whatever you need. Like it's just like kind of this collapse and gathering of like amazing Black people who know how amazing they are, and they know they can be amazing without needing support from the government or from corporate America. So this is not Black liberation brought to you by McDonald's. This is what I consider to be true Black leadership. True Black leadership comes from strong families, strong people, a willingness to educate ourselves and each other, and a willingness to build the businesses that will create the jobs for our kids. So that's pretty much what it's all about, and that's what we do, and we're getting it done. So if you'd like to come out, just don't get your tickets now. Next week, we're going to offer a really big discount for those of you that are in this space. It's not going to be offered outside of this space, and I'm hoping that the discount will be enough to get you there, because we don't want a blowout. We're not trying to do Invest Fest or something. We don't want thousands of people at the convention. We need the right people there who have already been prepared in terms of elevating enough to really get what we're trying to do, because we ain't got time for nonsense. We're trying to really get something done. So anyway, I will see you guys later. I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you. And the text list, you can text the word morning to the number 87948, and I'll send you that link to get the recording of what we did last night. Have a good day, everybody.